Okay, so we are the third line from the bottom on Chavav from the base. Toshma. So we're going to try another raya. We're going to try another raya to prove whether or not the product has to be in the field. My Sibir Rabban Gamliel is Canaan. Rabban Gamliel is Canaan. So you boy in Bessini, they're traveling on a ship. And we know there's a chazaka that a Talmud Chacham will never allow his pairs to be in existence unless he was masaking them, lest chas v'sholom, someone eat them and they're tevel. So Amr Lahen Rabban Gamliel is Canaan. Rabban Gamliel told us Canaan. Iser Shani Asid Lamud, the miser that I'm eventually going to physically separate from the pile of tvua that I have, noshon should be given. And let's see, let's turn the daf over to Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. Noshon should be given loy Yeshua to Yeshua, and Rashi tells us that Yeshua was a Levi. Now, how will Yeshua be koina these pairs? Umakoimoi muskerloi. The actual place where these pairs are sitting should be rented to Yeshua. The Isra Shani Asad Lamed and the Meiser Ani, it was a year of Meiser Ani that I'm going to separate. Nosan Loi Akiva ben Yosef. It should be given to Akiva ben Yosef, who was the Gabri Tzedakah, so he would distribute it to the Niyim. So he should be zoicha in it on behalf of the Niyim. And then once again, umakoimoi muskerloi. And the place that those pairs are in should be rented to Akiva ben Yosef, and they were both with him on the ship, and they gave him a pruta with which to be koina, at least a lease on that property, and through that they would be koina the pairs. But why was it necessary for him to lease them the property that the pairs were sitting on? Why couldn't he lease them any other property? Shemamina ba'inin tzivunba. So Zaktamari, this should be a raya that Kinyan Agav only works for pairs that are physically piled up in that property. So Zaktamari, you don't have a raya. Shani hasam ki hechi daloy l'krichinu. Maybe there could have been property anywhere. The reason why he decided to give them the property or to rent them the property where the pairs were located, that was just for convenience. As Rashi says, daloy l'krichinu, l'hoyti misham chazman sheratzon anichasham. They don't have to move it. They have a rental. They have a lease on the property, so they could deplete the pairs as necessary, but they could leave it there. But it wasn't because of the Kinyan Agav. It was just for practical purposes. Tosfos disagrees with Rashi, Pshat in this Gemara. And the obvious question that you should ask is, if there is a chazakah that Talmidei Chachamim will not leave Tevel in existence, well, then why did Rabbi Gamliel do it? Rabbi Gamliel failed. He obviously did do it. So if he did it because of the chazakah, it's too little, too late, because he was supposed to have done it before he left. So because of this and other kashas, Tosfos learns that this was not the case at all. This is not the case at all, that he's first being mafresh maisus. Tosfos learns that he was already mafresh to maisus. Now it was the year of beer maisus, where he has to get all the maisus out of his possession. And all he was trying to do was to get it into the hands of the Levi, into the hands of the Aniyim, so that it's no longer in his reshus, and he will fulfill beer maisus. That's what the long Tosfos is about. Okay, so we're back to the drawing board by Kinyan Agav. Do the pairs have to be on the property? Yes or no? Tashma, Dama Rabba Bar Yitzchak Omarav. Snei Shtarasei. There are two types of scenarios where a star is involved in a transaction. What one case could be where the giver says, he tells Reuven, do me a favor, be kind of this field on behalf of Chaim. The kiss as a star. And I also want you to write a star to say that I've given this property. So the law is, the moment Reuven is zoich in this field on behalf of Chaim, the field belongs to Chaim. So the giver can no longer retract that. It's too late. However, he could say, I don't want to write a star. He could hold back from writing the star. However, what if he told Reuven, Al Manash tichtav lo es a star? I want you to be konya this property for Chaim, but Al Manas that a star will be written. There, if he withholds the star, it undoes the whole gift because he made the gift contingent on him being willing to write the star later. Therefore, chayzer bein b'shtar bein b'sada. So that is what Rabbi Yitzchak said. But there's another scenario worth mentioning by star, and that is trei hadam. The first two we've already discussed. The third one is im kada moich, the cause of loy. What if the moicher writes? He writes the star first. Sometimes someone knows he's going to sell a property, so he'll write up a star mechir already, and then he'll negotiate the deal and finalize the deal. So here the moicher wrote the star already. I've given this field, I've sold this field to Chaim. And he wrote, and then he actually did it. Like we learned in the Brisa, that koisem star lemoicher, you're actually allowed to write a star for the moicher, even though lekeach is not here. And Rashi says there's two reasons why you can do it. Either because Edav v'chasum and Zachalai, the moment the Edom sign on the star, that actually is being konya the property on behalf of the buyer, so it's not predated. Or Rashi says another reason is because we'll say he'll do it that day, and it'll be okay. So Zok to Gemara, that's a possibility. And how does it work? The moment that the purchaser makes a kinyan chazaka on the subject property, and here are the key words, nikne star b'chol mokem shu. The star, which is the metaltlin, you're koinu with kinyan agav, no matter where in the world the star is. So this is black and white saying that the kinyan agav, the kinyan that he made on the field, will be koinu the metaltlin that's associated with it, the star, no matter where it is. Shemami no loibinin tzibur. So once again, you have a raya that loibinin tzibur ba. So no, you don't have a raya there either. The shiny star, tafshir daru. Every other object that I would want to sell, if I wanted to be marked on my bicycle with kinagam, there you would still need to be, the bicycle would have to be the property. But the star on the field, the handle, the way you hold on to a field is by holding on to the star. So since the star is the handle of the field, it's like it's a shtickle field. So therefore, wherever it is, it works. But in a case where it's a completely independent object, like a bicycle that I wanted to be marked with kinagav, maybe that would have to be on the property. Zok Gemara, that's not a reasonable distinction to make, because the halakha tani, there's a brisa that clarifies. The brisa says, "Zuhi shashaninu." This is precisely what we mean when the Mishnah says, "Nechashim she'ein lamachrayis niknin im nechashim she'esh lamachrayis v'cheser v'shtar v'chazon." In other words, this is what kinyan agav is, which applies not only to the shtar of that actual karka, but to any other metalfud. So here's our clear, airtight raya. Shmami no loy ba'inin tzavurin ba shmami no. We have a clear raya that kinyan agav works, even though the metalfud that you're being koina is not physically in the property that you're being koina. Beautiful. That is now resolved. Iboilu, the Gemara clears a shaila. Mi ba'inan agav oiloi. Does the person have to speak out? I'm being makni you this field, and I'm being makni you my bicycle agav the field. You have to say that. Zok to Gemara, Toshim, I'll bring you a riot. The Katani we learned, Kolhani, all of the different riots that the Gemara try to bring regarding the shaila of does it have to be siburin? For instance, I'm giving you tefach by tefach of property, the ima me'etzoin, and with the property, I'm giving you 100 tzoin, and the loikatani Rashi says agvan kutzoin. He just said I'm giving you a tefach with tefach of property, and with it I'm giving you tzoin. I didn't say with it through kinyan agav. So you have a raya that you don't have to speak out that you're using kinyan agav. Zok Gemara, that's not a raya because ulutameich kanimi katani. In all those cases, it doesn't say I'm being maked you the field and I'm being maked to you my bicycle, or I'm being maked to you the other nechasim, the tzoin, or the chaviyos. He didn't say anything about a kinyan, but he obviously must have said that. So you will say it's lav dafka. The Brisa didn't speak it out, but it's obvious that he said kni, Ela Adam Kni. So you're going to have to say that the exact wording of the brayso is lav dafka, but in fact, the giver did say Kni. Well, once you're putting words in, say as well, Hachanami Adam or Agav. Maybe that speaking where he said you should be koine the metaltlin, the nechosim, Agav the karka. Maybe he spoke that out. The hilchasa halacha l'maisa the Gemara paskins savurim loy ba'inon. It does not have to be piled up in the property, but Agav ukni ba'inon. It is imperative for it to work that the giver says, I'm giving you this piece of property, and with it, I want to be magnet to you with Kinyan Agav, the associated metaltlin. So now we have a beautiful resolution. Now the Gemara gets into new shayla. Iboilu, how about soda b'mecher u'metaltlin b'maton? I want you to be kind of two things: the metaltlin and the karka. But the soda I was giving to you, I was selling to you, and once I'm selling it to you, it comes along with a free gift. The free gift you're kind of with Agav. Can you do that? Iboilu soda b'mecher u'metaltlin b'maton. Tashma zok Gemara, we have a perfect raya because it says Isur shani osod lomut. The case was where Rabbi Gamliel said, the miser that I'm going to separate and give as a gift, nasan Yeshua, but the property is not being given to him as a gift. The property is being leased him, which means I'm selling him a timeshare of the property. So you see clearly that even though he's selling him the property, the metaltlin can be given by Batan. Shema Mina. Let's have another shot. How about Sada Le'echad Metaltlin Lach? I want to sell my field to Ruvain, and I want to sell my bike to Shimon, and through the kinyan on the karka that I'm giving to Ruvain, I want the metaltlin to be nicknamed to Shimon. Does that work? No. Tashma. Iser Shani Osad Lomud, Nosun Lakiva Ben Yosef, Hideshi Yiskaboy La Niyim, Umakamer Muskerloi. Here he's giving the gift to the Aniyim, but the property he was given to Akiva, who is the Gabbai Tzedakah. Zok to Gemara, so you have a raya from here that you could give the karka to one while being makna the metalton to another. Zok to Gemara, no. My musker l'maiser. It doesn't mean that I'm leasing the property to Akiva ben Yosef. It means I'm through Akiva ben Yosef, I'm leasing the property to each ani that's eventually going to get the meiser that I'm giving. Or maybe what it means is shiny Rabbi Kiva Yaranim. Being that he was the Gabbai Tzedakah, by him owning it, by him taking possession of the karka, with that he can be counted on behalf of all the Aniyim, because he was a Gabbai Tzedakah. Rashi says, Hoil the Gabbai Shalanimaya, since he was a Gabbai of Aniyim, he is like their hand, therefore it would work. But if you want to just give the karka to Reuven and the metalton to Shimon, and they're totally unrelated, that would not necessarily work. About Zok to Gemara, Amar Rava, Loi Shanu, this that we say Kinyan Agav works, is Ela Shenosan to make Kula. I'm makna the property, and through the property, I'm also makna to my bike. That's only if the bike was paid for. Or if there's multiple metaltlin, each one had to be paid for. But if the metaltlin are not fully paid, Loikana Ela Keneged Moisa. He's only kinda the amount of metalton that are paid for. Tanya Kavah say the Rav. We actually have a brayso which supports Rav, because the brayso says, Yafa koich hakesef mikoich hashtar. Generally speaking, there's a certain mila of doing the kinyan kesef over a shtar. The koich hashtar mikoich hakesef, and there are certain strengths that a shtar has that kesef doesn't. Yafa koich hakesef. Where is kesef more powerful than shtar? If you want to be paid a hekdesh and mashasheni, you can use cash to do that. However, mashen can be shtar. You cannot use a shtar to be paid a hekdesh. You can't go over to hekdesh and say, I want to be paid to that animal that has a moon, and I'm giving you an IOU note. It doesn't work. Torah says, bedavka cash. And it says the same thing, gabi ma'aser sheni, davka cash. Stars don't work to be paid. The other koich hashtar, there's advantages that a shtar has as well. Why? Shashtar motzi b'vas Yisrael. The only way for a married woman to sever her marriage is with a get. No money in the world can do it. Mashen can be kesef. The Yova koich shneim koich chazaka. And star and kesef have a koich that kinyan chazaka doesn't have, and vice versa, the koich chazaka and the koich shneim. Yova koich shneim, where star and kesef stronger, shneim koich b'nevivri. You can be koich b'nevivri with a star, and you can be koich b'nevivri with kesef. Mashen can be chazaka, but you cannot be koich b'nevivri with chazaka. On the flip side, Yova koich chazaka, shechazaka by chazaka. Let's say I'm selling somebody 10 properties. I'm selling him a portfolio of properties. The moment the purchaser made a chazaka in one of these properties of this portfolio, he's cutting them all. So chazaka works even on a property that you're not actually making the chazaka on. It works for all 10. Mashenkin with his star, you're only going to be kind of the property listed in the star. With kesef, you're only going to be kanya the property for which the kesef was given. Zog to Gemara, turning on to Chav Zayin Amud Beis. Where does kinyan chazaka work for other properties than the one that he actually made the chazaka on? Is shenosan loy demekulam, that they were all paid for in full. Avolay nosan loy demekulam, if they were not all paid for in full, loy kana ela keneged moisa. He's only kind of properties that his money are fully paid for. Zog to Gemara misayeyele lishmul. This will also be a riot to a halacha that Shmuel said. Domer Shmuel, machalay esesad is besa medinois, kivan shehichzik ba'achas mehen kanaf kulam. So you see a riot from this price of the Shmuel, because in fact that's what the price says. If it was all paid for, of course. Amar Avacha B'Rei Ravika, Teda, I'll bring you a riot that it should work. What if I had 10 animals that were all bundled together? Their reins were all bundled together, but you didn't give him the rein. You had him grab one animal directly. The Amar Lekni, and the Moicher told Lekech, I want you to be kanya and grab this one animal. Milai Kani, he would be kanya all 10, since they're bundled together. He would be kanya them all. So huadin, a property would be the same thing. By making a chazak on one property, they're all considered bundled together. Amalei, the Gemara said midami. Where do you see a comparison between someone grabbing an animal that its reins is connected to the reins of others, that you're cutting all the animals? Who said that's how it would work with a property? Hasam igude biyada. There, all of the reins are bundled together, and he could grab them all together. At the end of the day, when you make a chazak on one piece of property, you're not doing anything to the other properties. So therefore, you don't have a right. Ikad Amri, there was another way this Gemara went down from the exactly opposite perspective. Amar Vachabod Ravika, Teda Deloikan. I'll bring you a raya against Shmuel. In fact, that if you made a chazak on one property out of 10, you will not be kind of the other properties. Why? If I handed you 10 animals, they were all bundled together, and I told you, and I gave very specific instructions. I said, this animal, out of the 10 animals, you should be kind of this animal. Mikani, would anyone have a havmin to say that he's kind of all the animals? She said, Zu, after this one. So who had in by property? In fact, more midami. Hasam gufun muchlakin. If I gave you one animal that was bundled together with 10 animals, and I said, Zu, you should be kind of, they're each individual animal, so you're only kind of the one that I told you to. But hacha sadno darachat. We look at all properties as if they're connected and like they're one property. So if you're actually making chazaka on a part of one large property, there would be an argument to say that you would be kind of them all. Even though I said you should be kind of this property, but this property is by definition connected to all the other properties. So it's all one big property. Therefore, it's possible that even though you said zoo by 10 animals, you're only kind of the animal that you're referring to. By karka, it's quite possible that you would be kind of all of them. So at the end of the day, we don't have a raya to Shmuel or against Shmuel that making a chazak on one property, you'll automatically be kind of all 10 in the portfolio. But regardless, you're only kind of the ones that would have been paid for. And now we're up to a new sugya, the sugya of Gilgul Shvuah, because the Mishnah also said that nechasim she'elam achrayis, in other words, metaltlin, can be zoykik and nechasim she'esh lo achrayis l'shav alei. There is no place where the Torah is mechayev a shvuah for karka. However, if one is making a shvuah on metaltlin, a mandatory shvuah, if the Torah was mechayev, then in fact, either Gilgul, the plaintiff can demand a shvuah from the defendant even on karka, even though normally karka you would not swear upon. Amar Ula said, "Minayin legilgul shvuah min haTorah." Where do we know min haTorah that there's such a concept of gilgul shvuah? Once you're mechuyev a mandatory shvuah, the plaintiff can ask for additional shvuahs. Shenemar, we learned this in Masechah Saita. Amar ha'isha amein amein. After the kohen gave the woman, told her that she's going to have a curse, her body's going to collapse, and he makes her swear that she was clean, she answers not amein once, but amein twice. But now we learned in the Mishnah, what does the Torah mean that she has to say amein twice? Amahi aimeres amein amein. We say amein ala Allah. She's saying amein to the fact that she's accepting upon herself this terrible physical damage should she be lying. And amen ala shvuah, she's saying amen, it's true that I'm clean. Amen ime izeh, amen ime ishacher. She's making a shvuah not only with this man who there was kinoi about, which is where the beis shvuah, which is what triggered the beis shvuah, but through Gilgul, she's even swearing that she didn't have znus with anybody else. And not only that, amen shalosh atisi arusa unesua. I wasn't mizana when I was in Arusa. I wasn't mizana when I was in the Suah. I wasn't married when I was Shemer. I wasn't mizana as a Shemer Shavim, and I wasn't mizana as a Knusa. Now at this point, the Gemara doesn't assume that she's a Nesua who is swearing, and that we make her swear about all previous times in her life. Rather, Amen Shalosh Atisi Arusa means whether or not she's a Nesua, accepting upon herself the Shvuah, or even if she's an Arusa, accepting upon herself the shvuah still works. So Zokmar, hi Arusa Echadam. Why would an Arusa ever be making the shvuah of a saita? Ilema de kanila kesharusa. If you're telling me the woman was an Arusa, and this woman was an Arusa, he made kinuyam. They're not off to a very good start. And then she was soiser as an Arusa after the kinui, and therefore he's taking her to drink the Kamashki law Kisharusa. And this whole scenario is taking place for a woman who's an Arusa. That's impossible. Because Vatnan we learned Arusa v'Shemeres Yavim and Arusa and the Shemeres Yavim loy shoysois loy noitlis ksuba. If they are a soiser, they don't drink. The parsha of Saita does not apply to them. All what happens is they get divorced and they're not entitled to the ksuba because they brought this upon themselves. But they don't drink from the Mayim Hamarim, so that doesn't make sense. My timer. How do we know? Because it says in the pasuk, you became a soita underneath your husband. Amar Rachmana. The leka. If she's an Arusa, we don't consider that tachasi sheikh. She's not under her husband's control until she's actually an Asua. Ve'ela. So what does it mean? The kadilak is she Arusa. He made kinu when she was an Arusa. V'nisdra kisherusa, and she violated the kinu while she was in Arusa, but the kamash giloke she nesua. He made nesuin after that, even though he knew that she was already a saita who was nistar, and now that he made it nesuin on her, now he's going to take her to drink from the mesaita. In fact, it wouldn't work. After she's a saita, he's not allowed to make nesuin on her. He's not allowed to be boil her. The pasuk says, "V'nika Ishmael," the husband is clean. Amar Rachmana, and we dash from there that when does the whole saita process work? Bisman sha ish menuka ma'oven ma'in baikin ishtai. If the husband's squeaky clean, but aina ish menuka ma'oven, if the husband is guilty, And here he's guilty because after she was soiser, he wasn't allowed to have any relations with her, yet he made Nesuin. Well, then the mind wouldn't work anyway. So once again, how is it possible that she's saying Omein Shalosh Tisi Arusa if any incident that occurred while she was in Arusa couldn't possibly lead to her drinking Mesaita? Ela Aide Gilgal. What must have happened is nothing happened when she was in Arusa. Everything went perfectly well. And then she became a Nesua, and of course he was allowed to marry her. He was allowed to make Nesuin. And after she was in Nesua, this whole terrible thing happened. She was doing the wrong thing. Her husband made kinoi, then she made stira, and now he's making her swear as a soita for everything that occurred in Nesuin. Once he has her swear, he can say, oh, by the way, I want you to also swear that before the Nesuin, nothing bad happened. And that's purely a Gilgal Shvu. Zakta Gemara Ashkan Soita. So you've proven to me that Soita, which is Isura, a question of Isser, there we can have her make a Gilgal Shvu. But Mamun Aminala, where do you see that for Dine Mamonis? If I'm a plaintiff and you, the defendant, have to make a Shvu to me, how do you see that I can also ask you to swear regarding other financial issues? You can't bring a raya from Soita, which is Isura. Zok Gemara Tana Dever B'Shmuel Kabachim. It's actually a Kabachim from Soita. Uma Soita, Madich Soita, Shaloi, turning now onto Chav Ches Amar Aleph. Shaloi Nitna L'Tava Beirech. A Soita, if there's only an Eirecha that says that she was soiser, she doesn't drink. You need to have two Eidim to say that she was soiser. Nevertheless, Megalgalin, once she does swear, will ask for a Gilgal Shvua. Moment where the plaintiff has a stronger hand, Sheniten Li Tava Beirech, he could demand the base Shvua, even if there's 1 8. So if Reuben tells Shimon, you owe me $100, and Shimon says, I don't owe you a penny, and Reuben can produce an 8, it says, Shimon, you do owe him the money, so the 1 8 isn't enough to extract the money from Shimon, but it will trigger a Shvu Deraisa. So the hand of the Teveya of money is stronger than the husband, because the husband who's to be Teveya Shvua needs 2 Eidim to demand that Shvua. But a regular plaintiff who's demanding a Shvua from Mammon only needs 1 8. So surely, Einoidin, Shemegalgalin, surely Gilgal Shavua can be demanded. Okay. That works bevadai, meaning where I'm demanding a Shavua from you because I'm saying with 100% certainty that you owe me $100. It's not like I'm not sure. I know you owe me the $100 and I'm making a demand. Such a type of Shavua will lead to a guilt. But Suffolk we know him. What if I don't know if you? I don't even know if you owe me the first money. I don't even know. How do you know over there? I can ask for a Gilgal. Where am I getting the Shvua Dairaisa by a Suffolk? So the halacha is Shvua Shavutvin Varisin. If we were Shutvim, or someone was an Oris, and we were now going our own separate ways, I have a right to make my Oris or my Shutov swear to me that he hasn't taken anything that he wasn't entitled to. So once again, that normally you don't mechayev someone, an Oris or Shutov to swear. But if this Oris or Shutov is owing me a Shvu Deraisa, there I can demand a Shvu on a Suffolk. So we have a raya when I'm making a 100% claim that I'm sure you owe me the money. There we can force you to swear to me through a Gilgal Shvua. But how do you know I can even demand a Gilgal Shvua when I don't even have a clear tanya that you owe me? It's just a shot in the dark. I just want to make sure everything is good. How do you know that works? So tomorrow Tanya Reb Shimon Yoichi Omer Nemer Shvua B'chutz. The Torah tells us about Shavuos B'chutz, meaning by Dina Mominus, where the Shavuah is not made in the base of Mikdash. The Nemer Shvua B'fnim. And we have a Shvua by Soita, which is a Shvua that's made in the base of Mikdash. Mashvu hamur b'fnim, asay be'safek avadai. Just like a shvu hamur b'fnim, we treat safek like a vadai, because again it's a safek he doesn't know if she was mizana or not. Av shvu hamur b'chutz, so too the shvu that we require that's not in the base of mikdash for dinah mominis. I say b'savik avadai, you could demand a shvua even if you don't have a vadai taina. You just want to make sure that there's no other issue. Okay, well, let's stop here. And Be'ez Hashem, we will be mamshech tomorrow. The first time we'll learn will be at 7, and the second time we'll learn will be at 9. Everyone should have a wonderful evening. We should that Hashem should listen to our tefillas by Slichas tonight. Shkoyach. A good tefach.
Yes, he could leave the room open.
Okay, so I'm going to hand it to you. I'll just leave the meeting, and wow, what a beautiful view.
Is it nice?
Beautiful.
Yeah, the Rav asked me.
I see the new table.